Sometimes it happens in life that parents sell their children, and it's not because they're bad parents, but because that's how life is. And sometimes things don't go according to plan, and you have to improvise. My name is Kylie, and my mother sold me to a millionaire. Well, she didn't sell me, she gave me away for debt. You might say, wild, yes, considering that this millionaire was known to be a jerk. I'll tell you about my story, what happened to that millionaire, whether I stayed, and what I came up with to do my mother's debt. This millionaire had an unbearable temper. Everybody knew about it and compared him to a cold stone. I had known him for a long time, superficially. I'd worked in his company a couple of times as a cleaner. It wasn't that he didn't greet me, he just pretended I didn't exist. He treated everybody that way, except for his brother. The millionaire himself is named Lucas, and his brother's name is Ashton. They were business partners together. So one day when my mother owed their credit company money, a round sum of $100,000, I realized that we could never pay it off. So I suggested to my mother that I'd work for him, working off her debts. She was against it, but Lucas agreed right away. He said that I wouldn't work in the office, but at his house because there weren't enough servants there.
5 just quit the other day. They couldn't stand the work, and I can't stand lazy people,
he said sternly. I swallowed and said goodbye to my mother. Lucas was an asshole, but he looked really good. Perfect for my taste. We rode in his car with his driver, and Lucas kept looking at his tablet, and me at him.
I don't like being stared at so blatantly.
I immediately looked away after that comment. At first, when I brought him the wrong kind of coffee, or not as sweet, or didn't dust the office perfectly, he would punish me. No, don't get me wrong, he didn't whip me with a belt or anything. His punishments were more subtle and cruel. He would just leave me without dinner. You know, to work all day and be left without supper is a severe punishment. Luckily, I was good friends with his aunt. She worked for him too. She was in charge of everything in the house and supervised the servants. She and I got along very well. She remembered me as a child, and she used to feed me when Lucas wasn't looking. One day we got to talking during my dinner in my room. And why isn't he as kind to you?
You must have forgotten, or don't know. You've known him for a long time, but at some point, Lucas changed a lot. Ever since the night we got the call that his parents had tragically died.
Oh my God, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, since then it's just been Ashton and I. He's rude to everyone but us, but that's understandable. He was orphaned too soon.
We used to go to the same preschool together, and our parents used to talk to each other. I'm sorry about that. But that was so long ago.
Exactly. At his age, he should have enjoyed his childhood, and he grew up too soon. And what can't be said about Ashton?
Sure, Lucas's story moved me a little, but not much. I still didn't understand how anyone could be so cruel. His aunt left, and I fell asleep content with a full stomach. But already before the alarm clock, the maid was knocking at my door. Damn, I forgot. It's hunting day. Shit. Every quarter, he and his partners would go hunting, spend time there, and they'd take one maid with them. But I heard that after each trip, someone quit. For what reason? No one knew. There were rumors that the girls would sign some kind of document and then go. And I also know that this day was paid at a triple rate, so I wished I had been the first to go. I only later realized why that day was paid so well. And I swear, if I'd known what was in store for me, I would have asked for a write-off of my mom's entire debt of $100,000. It was cool at first. We arrived at a wonderful place in the woods. Lucas had a family cabin there. Small but tastefully done. His own little estate outside of town next to a small lake. Wasn't that a dream? My job was to serve well, set the table, clean up, fetch and carry things, and everything was fine until 2 hours later, when his partners got drunk. Ashton drank the most. While I was washing dishes in the kitchen, he came up behind me and grabbed my hair and said,
"Come with me to my room."
It's scary to imagine what those other girls were going through. From the looks of it, it was commonplace for him. I splashed him with the dishwashing water, and he just walked away.
Girl with character. That's new," he said and grabbed my hand, but I spat in his face. "I'm going to squash you, okay?"
"And report back to Lucas?"
"Come on, you were always hiding behind his pants." "What did you say? You're gonna be sorry, okay?"
Ashton left pissed, and I realized that this was just the beginning. Later, they all went into the woods, and I was left alone. I did my chores and decided to relax a little and went down to the lake to go for a swim. It was great, just like when I was a kid. My dad used to take me for a ride on his back. Too bad he wasn't with us anymore. He got really sick. Yeah, maybe it was for the better because, on the bright side, he didn't see me cleaning up after his once best friend's son. I lay back in the water and closed my eyes. The warm water was like a blanket, enveloping my whole body. It felt so good. But my peace was immediately interrupted. Someone grabbed my leg and pulled me down, and I began to sink. I tried to pull myself out. There was no one on the surface, and I waved my arms, trying to swim, but I couldn't breathe properly. I was so scared. I almost lost consciousness when someone pulled me out. It was Lucas. When I came to, he asked me what happened. I told him it felt like something was pulling me down, but he said it was probably garbage or something. Lucas threw a towel over me and sent me to my room. When I came out, they continued the feast. Lucas said I could go rest. I thanked him and went to my room and went to bed. After about 2 hours, I woke up to Ashton coming into my room. Man, he could barely stand. I yelled for him to go, and he suddenly straightened up and smiled.
"So, did you like swimming?"
"So, it was you? I could have drowned because of you."
"Well, you didn't. I used to give the girls CPR afterward."
"Oh, you bastard! Did you always do that? You'd make fun of the girls like that, and then they'd sign a non-disclosure form?"
"Ha, you're aware. Come on, don't say anything. Since you're aware, you know what to do. $20,000 for a massage for me, $25,000 for a kiss."
"Fuck you, Ashton."
"You're gonna regret this."
Lucas then walked in. He took him right out and led him away. Then he came in and told me to pack my things. Without a word, I got in his car and Lucas said he was going to take me back to his house. We were silent at first, and then he apologized. Was it unexpected for Lucas to apologize to someone? But he said he was ashamed of his brother.
"I already had his word that it wouldn't happen again, but he didn't understand,"
the angry chief said. I was about to admire his humanity when he added that if I'd stayed there, he would have lost a financial partner like Ashton. And there you have it. It's all about the money. He didn't feel sorry for me. He was just saving his business. Monster. I felt so bad for myself and all those hurt girls at that moment. I didn't know what Ashton was doing, and more importantly, he was getting away with it. While we were driving, I was only thinking about how much I wanted to see my mom, and at the same time thinking about her thousands of dollars of debt. Shit, I'd never make that kind of money in my life. $20,000, massage, $25,000 for a kiss, suddenly scrolled through my head. No, what was I thinking? I don't have to go to those measures. I got home with Lucas, and he left me there. I waited for at least a drop of understanding, but he said so coldly that there would be no payment over and above because Lucas had suffered a loss too. It wasn't fair. Why was he being so rude and cruel? Out of desperation, I made a decision I later regretted. A couple of days later, Ashton texted me and just asked for the address, and he was very pleased. I took the day off work and went to his place. It was some kind of terrace. There was no one there but Ashton and Lucas.
"You took time off to see my brother?"
I looked down.
"We're adults. We decide how to spend our time. You guys sit here while I go get some champagne."
Lucas came back after a while and we weren't there anymore. Lucas and I got in his car and he asked why I was doing this. I coldly replied that I wanted to pay my mom back as soon as possible, and that was it.
"Are you disgusted to be in my house?"
I didn't expect that question. Since when did he care about my feelings?
I'll cancel part of my debt if you spend the evening with me. Nothing extra. I want to watch a movie. I've got my own home theater in my house, and I've never seen one.
So we started spending time like that. Walking, reading, watching movies, cooking, and eating. All of this wrote off my debts. So a whole month went by like that, and that time was really priceless. I think I realized I'd fallen in love with him. I felt so good that I'd already forgotten about my debts. One day, Lucas asked me to cook dinner for him, promising to come back from work with good news. I set it up, opened the door, and there was Ashton. You? What are you doing here?
Came to pick you up and take you somewhere.
What makes you think I'm going?
Lucas didn't tell you? You're free. Your debt is forgiven. And now your contract is void.
It made me feel bad. For a moment, I forgot that this was all just an illusion. I'd invented it all myself, and I believed it. That's all. So I packed my things and called a cab. Ashton wanted to ride, but I pushed him away. That's when I got a text from Lucas.
Run!
And I saw Ashton walking toward me, holding a rope. He wanted revenge for everything that had happened.
You thought you'd just get away with it?
He yelled. Where is Lucas?
In a place he can't get out of. You're coming with me. You owe me, remember? I always get mine, okay?
I ran toward the garden, hiding among the trees, and Ashton turned on the watering. I gave myself away with a scream, and he grabbed my hair from behind. And then he shut my mouth immediately. He tried to put me in his car, but I kicked and pushed, but I still couldn't get out. Just as he was about to close the car door, Lucas came running up. He hit his brother, and he was covered in blood. I immediately pressed the security button on the gate. And anyway, it ended well. Ashton went to jail, and I went home.
What happened next, you ask? Lucas and I decided to make a fresh start, a clean slate, and we have our first date tonight. Wish me luck.